Hey, Sea Change team. Noah Alfman here. I'm the founder of Heroes. I'm reporting to you from the University of Chicago. I'm in graduate school here. Sorry I couldn't be there with you guys in person. Really excited to share this quarterly review with you and cover what I've been working on. So let's jump right in. This is the standard agenda laid out by the Sea Change team. Let's move right along. Quick breakdown of our sources of revenue and expenses. From self-funding and a grant from Seed Change, we have around $5,500, and our yearly operating expenses comes to around $1,600. These are basic operating costs. The stage of development that we're at really centers around customer discovery, MVP testing, and market research. None of those really require that much money, so that's why the number is so low. Lower level breakdown of how we're allocating our budget, you'll see the biggest portion of our money is still in cash. We really want to get married to the problem, make sure that we're sticking close to the customer and only building things we need to. That doesn't require that much money. So you'll notice there is no spending on employees, and although we are utilizing a software product, there's no engineering costs. That's because I've been able to build the software myself. That being said, we are going to outscale what we're currently accomplishing, and staff costs and the need for part-time employees are quickly approaching. This is essentially what we've been able to accomplish since leaving the Sea Change cohort. So we have three main products we've been working on. The Heroes Retreats is where we take young adults out into nature and walk through the story of the hero's journey to offer them a framework that they can use to navigate the trials and experiences of life. The Pathfinder program is a writing program that young adults can use to create a vision of their future, create a plan of action, and figure out what they want. The Guide program is our mentorship matching service that pairs aspiring young adults with mentors who can guide and support their journey. We've been spending a lot of time doing market research. How are other people solving these problems? How do other retreats run? How do other writing programs work? How do people discover their values? And how do other mentorship match programs work? And I'm going to get into the details of that in a future part of this presentation, so I won't spend too much time here. I'm going to take a lower level dive on the progress we've made on the Pathfinder program. To recall, this is a program that helps young adults discover their values, create a vision of their future based off those values, and then create and rank a list of goals, as well as generate them a plan of action so they can pursue their number one goal. Okay, so I'm going to give you a quick overview of how the program works. It's divided into three main parts. There is a reflective writing prompt section where we work across various aspects of life to help the user discover their values and also show them what is possible across these five aspects of life. Part two is a goal setting exercise where we take the young adult who has just recently discovered what's most important to them and how good the future could be. And we turn that aspiration into a series of goals. We then rank those goals so the young adult knows what's most important to them. And then the final section is creating a detailed plan of action to pursue the number one goal. I'm going to take a little lower level dive on the sequencing of the program with you right now. The writing program is centered around five key aspects of life: yourself, friends, family, work, and your intimate relationship. I'm going to now walk through one example exercise for the friendship section. One writing prompt that the young adult is going to respond to is, what does friendship mean to you? The second writing prompt would be something like, describe your ideal friendship. How should it feel? What we're doing here is we're actually drawing out the values of the young adult who might not otherwise know what's most important to them. So at this stage, the young adult has responded to these writing prompts, and they have their responses, describing their ideal friendship and how their, friendship should make them feel and what their ideal friendship has been in the past. We then create what is called the call to adventure. This is the vision of a bright future that will inspire the young adult and show them what's possible. So what we do is we take their responses and we send it to an AI model that draws out their values and then uses those values to create a vision of what the future could look like if they lived out their values and then pursued the best version of the future they could think of based off their values. What we're doing here is we're saying, hey, here's what an authentic version of the future based off your values could look like. This is how good it'll feel, and this is how much better your life and the lives of others will be if you answered the call to adventure and said yes to pursuing this bright future. So here's a quick example of a real output from the program. So the goal here is to paint a vision of a bright future to inspire the young adult and show them what's possible. The second part of this response is to say, hey, Noah, here's all the ways that if you had these friendships, you'd be better able to, be a son, be a, be a father, be a brother, be a better employee. This is all with the purpose of inspiring the young adult to take action. Now, if I repeated that process and discovered my values and was most important to me across all five of these aspects of life, I would start to get a pretty clear vision of what my life could look like if I was authentic, if I didn't let fear get in the way, and I aspired toward the bright future that I, used my values to create. This culminates in one final vision. Synthesize all of those visions together and say, hey, AI model, tell me the story of my life, how it might go if I lived out all of my values given the key stages of, and we paint this beautiful, elaborate picture based off someone's values for their whole life to say, hey, Noah, here's what your legacy could be. Here's how much better your life and everyone else's lives would be for it. Don't leave this on the table. So now we're on to part two of the program. So you've got this young adult who has all these visions of the future. They're hopeful, they're inspired, they're bought in. They're saying, all right, you've got me. I want to aspire to more. I don't know where to start. So that's where part two kicks in. It's a goal setting exercise to essentially answer the question, what do you want most right now? We have the young adult create 5 to 8 goals that they will later rank and select their top 3 goals. Here's what that ranking exercise looks like. I asked them a few questions that help them pick which goals are most important to them. Then they proceed to the next part of the program. It's a brief reflection period about, hey, why is this goal important to you? Oh, we asked them a question about what could go wrong? What are some trials and temptations you might face along the way? And then thirdly, what's the progress you want to have made 1 year from now? So this is the final stage of the program, my personal favorite. After the young adult has selected their top 3 goals, they're brought to this page, and they are about to start their adventure. What does every good adventure need? It needs a map. With those previous responses that we just collected about, hey, what could go wrong? What are you afraid of? What progress do you want to have made 1 year from now? The hero then selects their top goal, and we send all of that to an AI model and say, hey, cook up a really detailed 8-week plan of action starting from really simple first steps so we can build momentum and working our way up to, increasingly more complex steps after I built some faith in myself. And then it spits out this goal. I'm going to briefly zoom in on what one of these might look like. You'll see it's broken down by week with a clearly defined goal for the week, statements of action that they could take, as well as just one quote of inspiration. At this point in the program, you're a young adult, you're inspired, you have this plan, you're ready for action. What's the one fear you might be having right now? Can I even do this? Now I know what I want. I know why I want it, and I even know what I need to do, but is it possible? What do you need next? You need a guide. You need someone to tell you, hey, what you want is possible. I've got you. And also, I've been there and done that. I know exactly how this works. I can address your fears as they come up, and I'm going to make you succeed. This is the guide program. This is where we pair aspiring young adults with mentors who can help them get to where they want to go. After a young adult has completed the Pathfinder program, they've got this 8-week plan of action, and they can now have access to the guide program. They create an official hero's profile page. This is going to provide some preliminary information that a guide would need to jumpstart a relationship. And what we're really trying to do is help the guide see a younger version of themselves, right? Someone that they can relate to. They get bought into that story, and we need to just provide enough information so that the guide can do. Also on that profile page is the hero's plan of action as well as the name of their goal. The idea here is that a guide should be able to browse the profiles of heroes, see a younger version of themselves in someone, and see what they want and say, you know what? I know I can help you achieve that goal, and I want to. I know what it's like. I've been there, I've done that, and no one should have to go on that journey alone. A Okay, so here's the really cool part. Back in the Pathfinder program, when I said the AI model cooks up an 8 week plan of action for the young adult, well, at the same time, I actually have it cook up an 8 week plan of action for a mentor. And with every single associated task that the young adult is given, the mentor is going to be given advice on how to help that young adult succeed at each task, as well as a set of reflective questions that throughout the course of this 8 week support them emotionally by relating to them, checking in with them on how they're feeling. Brief overview about the guide program. As I said, 8 week commitment for accountability, encouragement, and the knowledge and connections to help the mentees. Um, what's in it for the mentors, you might ask? The meaning for being responsible for someone other than yourself, and the joy derived from imparting the lessons that you've learned the hard way to help someone else. That makes those lessons worth it. Excited now that you guys understand what the Pathfinder program is and how it connects with the guide program. I want to introduce you to Kenzie Muller. Kenzie is a first generation college student, and she's grown up in a small town in Ohio. Every day, she drives 1 hour to a Target warehouse because that warehouse work uh, is one of the most lucrative jobs you can have without having a college degree. At this job, Kenzie works a 10-hour shift, lifting heavy boxes, loading pallets. She's doing all of this because Target will pay for her education so she can get a degree in graphic design and not have to accrue any debt. Kenzie's going to have, or she would have had rather, to work this job for 3 more years before she could get her degree and stop doing this really grueling work. I met Kenzie. I told her what I was working on, and she said, "Hey, I'll give it a shot." So she completed the Pathfinder program. She realized that her top goal was to become a graphic designer, but not have to wait 3 years to do so. She wanted to find an alternate route to get there. As someone who had done the career pivot, pivoting from engineering to entrepreneurship, I knew exactly what she was feeling, and I wanted to showcase that her dreams are possible now. And I knew it because I'd been there, I'd done that, I'd lived the problem. Equipped with our 8 week plans of actions, Kinsey and I got to work. Started doing research about the space of graphic design, exploring what are her possible range of options, how do other people get jobs in that field. I tapped into my, and we were able to send her on a series of 3 conversations with individuals who were in different realms of the graphic design. And through those conversations, we learned a ton, that there's certificate programs through organizations like Meta and Google that you can get for $1,000 or even free at times. That would give her the professional credentialing as well as the actual skills to pursue her goal in a timeline and at a price point that's right for her. I'm really, really excited to say that Kinsey is on this adventure and things are looking up. She recently was able to relocate to Chicago and finally pursue her dream of living in the city, moving out of her hometown. She's on her way to completing one of Meta's graphic design certification courseworks, and she's had some real interest in opportunities for internships. And she'll tell you she's feeling like her dreams are possible, and it's not just a dream anymore. And I've seen her light up, day after day, seeing her being like, wow, like it's actually working. I'm talking to people and they want to help me and I'm getting closer, and this thing that felt so far away is looking like it's possible. It's been a really, really wonderful thing to see. And I've been there. I've been there at the beginning of the journey where I was working a job I hated and just thought, well, this is my life now. I knew how scary it was to be in that moment and feel alone and stuck. But it's a huge amount of evidence to support that wow, we can actually help people achieve their dreams and create practical change in their lives so they can feel more hope and have a more prosperous future. The question we raise now is, can we do it again, right? We've helped one young adult, but we need to make sure it's a repeatable process for finer outcomes. To do that, we're hosting a pilot program in quarter 1 of this year. Thank you for hanging with me as I walked through that impact story and the progress we've made. I'm going to wrap up with some more high level stuff. Here's our roadmap for 2025. I won't get into the details here, but there's a lot of resources at the University of Chicago for social entrepreneurship, as well as access to educators and also like thousands of young adults who are living the problem that we're trying to solve right now. And so we are really, really primed for growth. Um, if I could summarize this slide for you, it's going to be iterations of market research, um, customer discovery, and then MVP testing across our various products. And we just want to stick to first principles of um, you know, continuous discovery and iteration, failing fast, learning quick, and not ever taking on too much risks or unvalidated assumptions at any one given period. So, if one thing you might not notice in this current format is that it becomes increasingly reliant on funding and also a team that's bigger than just me. And so that's something I'm growing increasingly aware of, and you'll see in the support needed slide that is encapsulated in there. Here's what we need for the year ahead. Number one is a fiscal sponsorship. The intention behind this is I want to be able to operate as a startup who has the agility to fail quickly, make decisions without too much administrative overhead or decision makers to have to consult. However, we are running up against the problem of I am in need of funding. Um, I need to recruit individuals who are better than me at the things I've been doing thus far, like marketing, software development, um, customer outreach, branding. I need to spend more hours building relationships and delegating work to just let experts on my team play the role that I set them into. That is going to require more capital. Um, Hence the fiscal sponsorship. I want access to uh, philanthropic funding while still being able to operate as a scrappy and innovative startup. The rest of this list is essentially asking for pro bono work and connections. So those could be anything from free legal advice to make sure we're crossing our T's and dotting our I's, making sure that we're taking care of the um, risks associated with working with young adults and connecting them to people. The final section on this slide is an ask of connections. One of the services I didn't mention that's in the future vision of Heroes is a life education service. I essentially want to teach people how to navigate the core experiences of life, like finding love, finding meaningful work, self-forgiveness, um, all of the things of the human experience that we're all going to go through. The Heroes University is an avenue for creating content to solve those problems that everyone's going to face throughout the course of their life, but not being locked behind a belief system that people might not be fully bought into. To support that product, looking for anyone who owns a studio, filming equipment, educators who'd be willing to help us create those courses. Um, you'll notice these products or these connection requests are centered around the University of Chicago, just because that's where I'm at. Super open to any virtual connections or any connections that you think would be relevant. I opted out of a traditional internship this summer to work on Heroes. I am bought in. I'm going to do this. Um, if you know the heart behind this venture, you'll know why. I lost two individuals to suicide when I was really young, and I'm deeply convicted that this is what I want to spend my time doing. Um, any support you could offer me, whether that's mentorship, in encouragement, connections, funding, fiscal sponsorship, um, it means so much more to me than that. There's, I have a very, very deep connection to this mission, and I'm not going to stop. So I appreciate any help and support you can give me. I'm very grateful to the Sea Change space for being, the very first opportunity to meet people who believed in me, who told me my idea was worth pursuing and to keep going. And I thank you for whatever the outcome is of this quarterly review meeting today. My contact information are on this slide. I think they're right up there. Hope I'm pointing in the right area. Please reach out. I love to talk, meet. I'm open to any introduction to anyone you think would be helpful to this venture. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Have a great day. Bye-bye.